JD Center of Art is delighted to collaborate with the India International Center for Meet the Artist program. G Vasudev, an eminent artist, is our guest for the 263rd Meet the Artist and will speak on inner resonance. JDC is envisioned as a unique art center that aims to preserve and exhibit its large collection of folk, tribal, traditional, and contemporary art, all under one roof. It is currently under construction in Bhubaneswar, Orissa. Meet the Artist is an in-house program of GDCA where invited artists, craftspersons, or scholars share their work, experiences, and insights through an illustrated talk. Since 2001, 262 such Meet the Artist programs have taken place on the second Saturday of every month. Currently, our sessions are being held online since about a year and a half. G Vasudev. Born in Mysore, Karnataka in 1941, G Vasudev studied at the Government College of Arts, Madras. While still a student, he won National Award from the All India Lalit Academy in 1967. He has also received awards from the State Academies of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, besides prestigious Karnataka Rajyotsava Award, Venkatappa Award, and Paniker Puraskaram. Vasudev is a founder member of Cholamandal Artists Village on the outskirts of Chennai, as it is called now, where he lived and worked till 1988. Vasudev has held solo exhibitions and has participated in several important group exhibitions in India and abroad. Some of the important series of works he has created over the years are Maithuna, Act of Love, Vriksha, Tree of Life, which transformed into Humanscapes and Earthscapes, and a series on a renowned poet, A K Ramanujan's poetry. I was actually a great fan of A K Ramanujan when I was a child. Inner Resonance, Return to Sama. His retrospective exhibition was held at the National Gallery of Modern Art, Bangalore and Mumbai, and at the Lalit Academy, Chennai in 2018-19. Vasudev is the founder and managing trustee of Arnavas Vasudev Charities, a non-profit organization providing financial assistance to young artists and art-related initiatives since 1989. He has helped in establishing the Visual Art Department at the Bangalore University, the National Gallery of Modern Art, Bangalore, Ananya Drishya, and Art Park. He lives and works in Bangalore, where he's joined us from today. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Vasu. Welcome to the JD Center of Art program, which is done in collaboration with India International Center in recent past because of the COVID, and now it's online. Vasu is a very, very dear old friend, and we've had many innings and we've spent a lot of time together in the past. In recent years, many artists don't meet, they're all busy. So Vasu, please tell us about your experience, not necessarily chronologically, but how it started in Cholamandal, Paniker, Vishwanathan, and all these people. Tell us, Madras, Cholamandal, now in Bangalore, your journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Jatin. Thanks, Siddharth. I am very happy to associate myself with this program. And before joining the College of Art, which gave me a lot of things to do in art education, I was doing caricatures. I was influenced by David Lowe and Lakshman, and I was doing some caricatures, cartoons for some newspapers and other things in Bangalore before I joined. And then, of course, there was a problem to join an art college. It was not so easy, Parents were not very happy with that. Fortunately, the first generation art writer, G Venkatappa, he used to come to Bangalore from Delhi now and then. He saw some of my drawings and said, "You must join an art school." Then he said he would convince my parents. That's how I joined the Madras College of Art, School of Arts at that time, School of Arts and Crafts. And I met Paniker. Then I got in and he said, "Can you draw from the model?" I didn't know how to draw from the model, but anyway, I did the exam. And so I got through. That was heaven for me. College of Art, School of Arts and Crafts was a heaven for me. for having gone out of Bangalore station where I studied here up to my college final. Then in 1964, Paniker called some of us and asked us what we are going to do after finishing the college. And we were wondering what to do. Then he said, sir, we will take up some jobs. I said, no, job is not good for an artist. Even I am suffering a lot because I took up a job. Can't paint all the time. And so I would suggest something else. You try and see how it's possible. So he said, craft is a very important thing. And that too, in our School of Arts and Crafts, I must say that craft section was fantastic. We could go to any section, any craft section and do our work. And so then we learned batik as one of the main crafts, and then did batik for almost about a year and a half. And some of us were about 25, 30 of us. We had some space in the city, so we could go there and work. We had an exhibition, and that was almost a sellout. That gave us idea that it's possible for us to make a living by extending our art to craft, to create something new. And there was enough money which we could get out of those things, even if one worked for about 2 or 3 hours a day. So that gave us the idea that we should have a place of our own. Then we thought we should have not only a place of our own to work, but to live around that place. So that's how we bought nearly 10 acres of land on the way to Mahabalipuram on the seashore. And then we called it Cholamandal Artists Village. Because Cholas were great rulers of that sort of earth, that part of earth. And they were also they were very art-minded people. And so we called it Cholamandal Artists Village. That started in 1966. Unfortunately, I had a very good set of friends, my classmates, like Vishwanathan, Haridasan, Damodaran, Padmini, and Adimulam, Bhaskaran, all these people, Lakshanamurthy. We were nearly about 15, 16 students at that time. We were all together. And that must have given idea to Paniker and to Dhanapal, who was another very important sculptor who taught in the College of Art, was Paniker's same group of, they were together. And then we formed a collective and started Cholamandal Artists Village. And so that is, it was very difficult for us to sort of, not so easy, because there was no road, proper road. It's only a cart track. And so we had sort of get a bus service done, roads to improve there, everything possible. And we really struggled a lot. And there was a cyclonic weather also in 1967, which destroyed some of the cottages which we had built in thatch. So anyway, it's all part of our life. And today, Cholamandal looks very different from what it was in 1966, 7. And I remember once, Paniker called, Paniker was interviewed by a journalist, and he asked him, do you think this Cholamandal how long the artist village would last? Paniker said, 1 generation. I don't know about next generation. The present artists are fine. About 25, 30 artists are fine. They all, I know them very well, but I don't know their children. I don't know their families. I do not know what's going to happen. Then then another question was, do you think all these 25, 30 people would become great artists? He said, no. Out of this, even 6 people can get something out of this place. It's great. It's an experiment. And so more than 6 have flourished from that place, And I will show you slightly later about the cottages with the museum we have built there now. And Cholamandal, we have got, we called it, we invited about 40 artists and called it Madras Art Movement. And that museum is built in Cholamandal. And about 40 artists' works or permanently in display or display. And so yeah, we have been having some programs over there, and a lot of activities go on, like workshops and things like that. And so it is changed a little bit from what it was. It is not the same way as we did in our days. It has taken its own shape now. Naturally, it has to happen that way. And fortunately, there are at least 4 or 5 younger artists, children of the or generation of artists who have taken a lot of interest in furthering the activities of Cholamandal. So it's going on. It's going on like that. And I personally, went through uh, various series in my painting, in my art. First, in fact, I would like to show some of my works to begin with, and then we can discuss later. Can we show some of my works? Yeah. And now, regarding drawings, this is what I did in the classroom in 1962. I was a second year student in the college. And it's all models, we used to have model drawings, and we had to do, so at that time it was 6 years course, diploma course is 6 years. And this was second year I did this drawing. And we had to do this drawing from model for all the 6 years, drawing and painting from models. That's how the skill, we had to develop our skills, and drawing skills, painting skills. And this is another one of 1961, 62. And yeah, this is, I did in 1971 when I was in Cholamandal. And, I was quite, wanted to get away from the realistic drawings. And then I wanted to do something on my own, something which was, I was heavily influenced by Kannada literature and Kannada poetry. And thanks to, I met Girish Karnad, a theatre personality, in 1963-64, when he came from London to Chennai. And so I met him through a common friend, one Mr. Vayan Krishnamurthy, who was himself a writer and a journalist. And so Karnad exposed me to best of Kannada literature, and then best of Kannada poetry, and like that. And 1967, I went to Dharwar with him. He comes from Dharwar, Karnad. So I had an exhibition there. And I met one of our great Kannada poets called Pinne. And his poetry I was always influenced by some of the Kannada poems before, but that particular thing changed the whole attitude of my looking towards Kannada poetry. And here is Bindre's poem called Kalpa Vriksha Vrindavana. So that inspired me to do a series of paintings called Kalpa Vriksha. One of the paintings is in the National Gallery of Modern Art in Delhi. Then, I went on doing some drawings on my own. And I started with Maithuna, then fantasy, then what's called Manscape, Humanscapes, Theatre of Life, Tree of Life, and things like that. And then Rhapsody. So I nearly about 6 or 7 series I've done in my works, in my life. And these are all my drawings. And I work the other way also. It's not only a drawing on black on white, but I also work the other way, the reverse. That is, white lines on black paper, black drawing sheet. And I have done a series of drawings on my friend A K Ramanujan, who challenged me. He said, do you think you can react to some of my drawings and I will come and read my poems there. And it was a challenge for me, and I did something. He died soon after, but I continued the project. And then I had my show in Bangalore. I invited Anantamurthy, great friends of Ramanujan, Anantamurthy, Girish Karnad, Ramchandra Sharma, Pratibha Nandakumar. they all came and read the poems of Ramanujan, seeing my drawings. And then the exhibition took place in Chennai and Delhi, India International Center. And then it went to London, Nehru Center, and then to Chicago, where Ramanujan lived and died. And then, these series of drawings which are definitely influenced somewhere from Kannada literature, Kannada poetry, Kannada theatre, Kannada stories, some folk stories sometimes like that. And the tree has taken a different shape now altogether. I call it this tree also, but it has taken a different shape. It is not like what I was doing earlier. Then I come to my paintings. These are my drawings. And then I come to my paintings. And this is again 1961, 62. I did this when I was a student in the college. We had to go to the neighboring places and then find ourselves, some nice places in the village or things like that. And then I did this directly from by seeing the village atmosphere. And then in this is later Tree of Life, Theatre of Life, I call it. But actually, it's from the Tree of Life, it has moved on to Theatre of Life. And Tree of Life, it so happened that I was doing fantasy series. And then I had a show in Delhi at Triveni Kala Sangam. Then one of my friends came to the exhibition and said, Vasudev, is it Tree of Life? I didn't know what was Tree of Life at that time. It was in 1969 and 70 or something like that. And so then he said, no, there is very interesting Tree of Life, because your form, because you have brought the tree in the middle of the canvas. I was just doing that because I wanted to see how, from my fantasy landscapes, how the tree would move. And so then I bought that book on Tree of Life. It was a very beautiful book, which helped me a lot to understand what it is. And it helped me, it also talked about various craftsmen and artists all over the world, how they were influenced by the Tree of Life. And so I studied a little bit of our own way of, the way tree is treated in Indian mythology. And so Vriksha and things like that, So I went on. And at the same time, it helped me a lot to do many things. It's verticals, horizontal shapes, and a lot of technical things which I could not solve otherwise. I could solve with this one topic, one title theater, Tree of Life. And so I went on doing it almost for about 10 years. And these are my, theater. I was influenced, as I told you, in Kannada theater. And this is a sort of a, human beings acting, or, they just, and it so happened that, I have when I moved to Bangalore in 1989, my father gave me some land, and then agriculture land. And he said, you can use it if you want. Then I built, fortunately, we built a nice house there. And then it so happened that I was watching the villagers in the village. They were at 2 in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock, they would sit in front of idiot box. And then they would be going on watching. So then all of us are like that, at some point or the other, we are all the same. We also would like to see ourselves dressed like Devanand or Raj Kapoor or Dilip Kumar, like that. And then, so I called it Theatre of Life and went on doing this. And then, because I had also studied in Kannada literature, Kannada theatre, so it helped me a lot to go through that. And then I went on to, from Theatre of Life, the She series came. And, I started working on a large heads with mountains and trees and things like that. And this is again a Theatre of Life. And I find everything is a part of theater. Whole life is theater for me. And I also did a series of paintings called Earthscape, where tree becomes, an important thing in the middle, but at the same time, they also are shaken by people. Cut the trees, they don't care for it, they burn it. And so I called it Earthscape series. I did a series of paintings on that. This I called it landscape. Actually, it's mountain and water and sea and tree and everything in movement. So this is about, it was a very large painting. It's about 7 feet by 4 feet size. And so this is, I created textures at that time, a little bit of textures onto the canvas and then work with it. And I almost always use oil on canvas. I never use acrylic. Somehow the acrylic, I don't prefer acrylic at all. I mean, it doesn't somehow gives a richness which I get in oils. And this is again a she series. And where there are a number of things happening in her hair, hairdo. And so things like that, this is also a very large painting. Yeah. Then, the thing is that in the College of Art, there was a section, craft section, where repousse work was also taught, copper repousse work. And I used to see them there, but I never learned anything. But in Cholamandal, we wanted to learn other crafts also other than batik. So we invited one craftsman who retired from the College of Art, and we asked him to teach us how to do the repousse work. And so while he taught us, and we started doing something, and I thought it would go well with my type of drawings. And so I started learning repousse and then did the repousse, on almost like wall hangings, It's a sort of a 2-dimensional thing. Yeah. And these are all the Tree of Life series that I did. And this is another Tree of Life, which is again, sort of a, it has got its own sort of a, snake form, and then some letters written in Kannada and in Sanskrit, and things like that. Yeah. And this is the Maithuna series. Maithuna is the act of love between man and not only between man and woman, but between all the forms what you see in nature. Birds, sun, moon, stars, letters, everything. Yeah. And this is one of the faces which I worked in repousse. This is a very large work again, about 7 feet by 4 feet size. And this again, I did it in 2011, and I called it Tree of Life. But again, tree has moved to one side, and then there is water, there is many other forms. It's a very tedious medium because, it is it's worked, it's actually copper sheet is fixed to a bed of lacquer. Bed of lacquer is made out of brick powder, gum, and oil. So you boil it together and pour it into a tray, and then keep the sheet onto that. I mean, then it becomes like a chocolate and it boils. Then you pour it into a tray. Then keep the sheet onto that. It gets fixed. Then work on that with a different tool, steel tools. And it's all, what you see here is the other side. But first, actually, what you see, I think it's beaten from the first it's beaten inside like that. It's reverse. So I have to plan it in such a way that the reverse is first, and then then it will reverse it, turn it again, then finish the whole thing inside it. So it's quite a lot of work. And so I have taught this medium to a carpenter boy who came to me to do boxes and frames.
All clear.
16. And so I taught him how to do this. And then he has been my right-hand man even now. He and his son-in-law have become right-hand people. They are carpenters, basically, but they know how to, my mind, they know how to read. And then I do, of course, a lot of things, but the serious textures and other things, I do it. But otherwise, basically, they do the work of fixing the sheet onto the bed and things like that. Yeah. And this is my more recent way of moving on to, it's again a tree, but in a very different shape altogether. Then my interest in crafts went to various things. And when I went abroad, I saw a number of, in some of the corporate houses and some of the museums, or very contemporary tapestries. You know? And some of them were done based on the paintings of Picasso and Braque and people like that. And so I was wondering whether I can do these things with a craftsman, if I can find a weaver. And I found a weaver in Bangalore, thanks to Hussain Saab. Hussain Saab had a MF Hussain. He had a studio in Bangalore, and I went to his place, and then he had about half a dozen tapestries hanging there. And I asked him, "Sir, is it done in Jaipur?" He said, "No, Vasu, there is a weaver in Bangalore who does these things." So I met him. He introduced me to him, and then since last 24 years, we have been doing works together. And it's a sort of it's a very important thing for me. And it's for him, he said first when I showed him, I invited him to my studio and showed him my works. He said, "No, it's possible for me to do your work." I said, "Okay, let's do." So it took about 6 months to do a small one. And then he said, "Mr. Vasudev, sir, it looks simple for work, but it's very complicated because you mix so many colors." I understood the problem he was facing. He was, because if you see the back of this thing, then you will know how exactly it is. It is joined, cut, joined like that. It's a very process, the very problematic. But anyway, he told me that we can work together provided you accept to give me enough time to do every piece. I said, "No problem." Then accept to pay me whatever I want. I said, "No problem." And so we have been working like this for 25 years. Collaboration. And these are all what we have done. And I showed some of these things in Delhi also, in IIC. I think Jatin came to the show. Yeah. And it's a very, very interesting medium, though, I feel, and these are all from my paintings. I have not done anything for tapestry alone. He in fact, he told me not to paint, not to do any painting for tapestry, because then I will simplify my forms. He didn't want that. He wanted to come to my level of or whatever it is. So that's a very good sign a craftsman could say. And then in the last 3 years, I came to collages. When lockdown happened because of COVID, I had just before lockdown period, I had asked my stationery chap to make some books, drawing books, black color, black paper, black drawing sheets, white drawing sheets like that. So I went on doing some drawings and collages. So it developed like that. And so then I used my own forms in a book which is published on me. I cut out some of the forms from there and recreated the stories by doing the collage work. These are all from various invitation cards. In fact, this one is actually it's A. Ramachandran's one of the invitations which he had done, and from his exhibition. Cut them in my own way, and then pasted them, and then created a chair around that. Yeah. It's a very interesting medium, though. It's very it looks very simple, but it's a very difficult medium. It's not so easy because I not only paste, but I also do the the thing is that it's not just, I also do the drawing on this, it's not just, collage is not just pasting the paper onto drawing sheet, but I do collages, I do drawings on the collages. And these drawings are done with, tubes. You can get gold, silver, copper tubes colors, which you can acrylic colors in that, and I press it and then I do the drawing on the colors, on the collages. So yeah, can we see some of the collages? If there is. Yeah. See, you can see the drawing of mine, and the collage is just pasted a few here and there. And they're all not very big. They're all about 16 inches by 12 inches size in a small book. And I had last year I had an exhibition of these collages in Bangalore at Gallery Sumuka. And I had a very good appreciation by a lot of people. And artist appreciation is important for me. And I got a very good appreciation from the artists alone. And I will say that, it has given me a different, what can I say, think of, different thing to think of doing collages. And now I want to show you, this is how Cholamandal looks now. Cholamandal was not, in 1966, we had cottages, thatch cottages. We didn't have money at that time to build houses like this. But now today, what you can see here to the left side is the main office building of Cholamandal Gallery, and then museum, and then these are all the things right side, sculptures. And we invite people from all over the world to come there and stay there and do sculptures in the garden. And they have all done sculptures. This is by Japanese artists with the stones like that. And these are from Swedish artists, I think. And like that, we have been doing various things. And now this is my house in Cholamandal, And while building another room, my present wife, Amu Joseph, she's a writer and an activist, journalist. And she told me that why don't you build a studio also on top, and which could be sort of given to artists and writers. So we have built a small studio, which is there, what you can see that down there, interior of this studio. And this accommodates one or family, one or husband and wife. They can stay there if they want to. And everything is provided there. And and then we call it Studio Arnavas. Arnavas was one of my favorite artists, and also she became my wife. And she joined the College of Art in 1962. And she was 2 years junior to me. And she died of cancer in 1988. And I created what I called charities, foundation in her name. And it's called Arnavas Vasudev Charities. And so whatever the people, if they want to come and stay here, they can donate some money to the charity, which helps in giving financial assistance to young artists. Every year we have about 8 to 10 artists like that who have received financial assistance from us. And is again part of the studio provided for us. And discussion meeting in Cholamandal going on. And this is, you can see one here, Vishwanathan, one of my classmates. He's sitting and talking to artist community. And coming back to Bangalore in 1989, after 88 and 89, after Arnavas passed away, I moved to Bangalore because my son was studying in the Krishnamurti school, the J. Krishnamurti Foundation School. And so there is a school in Bangalore, Valley School. And so I put him there. And I moved to Bangalore because for my son, it was easy to go with my parents and with my sisters and others, So I moved to Bangalore and I built this house, 1992, 93, with my present wife, Amu. She suggested that I should build a house where I can feel like going and staying sometimes. So uh, this is a land which we this is how it looks interior. It's a sort of a courtyard type of house, and so I use the place also as my studio sometimes, and I store my artworks, and you can see the way it's done inside with rattan and chairs and sofa and things like that, and that's all my paintings and is hanging. And I also have a studio in city. This is the interior of the city things. My studio here, and all the three years here. And this is the living space, and also studio space. And in Bangalore, I felt the need. I felt that artists, it's very difficult for many people to understand art unless the galleries do something about it. So I called a few of my friends and discussed with them, and we created what's called Ananya Driksha. Ananya is an organization. It's already there for a very long time, and I'm one of the trustees there. And they're doing a lot of work in the music and dance, in music and dance. So I brought in visual art there called Ananya Drishya. And so what we do is, every month, almost every month, one program, we invite one artist and a moderator to make a presentation, and we invite people to come for that program. And we had a place in our museum art gallery, Venkatappa Art Gallery, which is a public museum art gallery. And so this is how people from art students to totally strangers, they all come for this program. And it's a sort of a appreciation of art also at the same time. This will be going on. And then other thing is art work, which I was also involved with, because I felt the need that many people don't go to art galleries, and they all have inhibitions meeting the artist community. That is, I felt the need that we should break this sort of a thing between barriers between art and the general public. So we started what's called Art Park, and we have nearly 10 to 15 people who manage the whole thing, and they invite artists every month. We invite first Sunday of every month. We invite about 25 artists, and we give them drawing sheets and tell them to do some work, and they can bring their work from their studios, and they can sit there and do this. It's a sculpture garden area right in the middle of Bangalore, and we do these programs there. And the drawings which artists do, they are sold at 1,000 rupees maximum. This is because we want to encourage the people who do not go to art galleries to buy art. We want to see with how it works. And then it has worked very well, I should say. We have been going on doing this for almost for 8 years now. And now many people are asking why we want to do some of these things in our areas. So we tell them that, we can do it in the second Saturday or second Sunday of every month. And so what we do is every function, every event, we invite one important personality of Bangalore. Here you can see Girish Karnad once came for this program. Another time Girish Kasravalli came, like that, and they all come and they go around and meet the artist community, see their work, and they do something on their own, and they talk about their experiences. And it's a very interesting thing for the artist community also and then the artist community, they're there between morning 10:30 to evening 5, and we provide them all the facilities. Could cost not more than about 35 to 40,000 rupees for each of these events. It's been going on for some. And so that is what I wanted to share with whatever I'm doing, both in my artwork and also my activity otherwise. And of course, in my biodata, there is something like which Siddharth read, that National Gallery of Modern Art and University of Bangalore has got visual art department. For I did submit work to get them over to Bangalore. Tried my best to do that. Yeah, I'm very happy about it. And I feel that as an artist, I think we have social responsibility. We should do something. And as Akademi is doing a fantastic job, building museums, not so easy, not at all easy, to do that. But doing it, something great about it. And we all know how to work in our studios and make our money a little bit. But I think we should also give it to people.
Wonderful, wonderful. There's our generation of people, artists, all over the country, they dedicated their time and energy to their work. And it was very difficult time. Madras, Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Bangalore, everywhere. But there is a sea change. Art has become a business. Art is in the market. Artists are also in the market, So there is a different exposure and different kind of promotion. When you all started in Cholamandal, I remember I went there when there used to be thatch roofs. The straw roof in your houses in Cholamandal. And it was very simple. It was like cottages. And there were so many artists were there and working. Wonderful. Do you remember I did a portrait of you, which is in my portrait book? And also Vishwanathan's and others. Also Girish portrait. Girish was also a very dear friend of ours. The many people are gone. Like when you talk about Anantamurthy, all these people. And there was a time in Bombay, they made Kalanagar.
Yeah.
And Paniker did the Cholamandal. And in Himachal, they did that, what they call it? I forget the name. Where Bhavesh Sanyal. Andreta. So many people in our country, many artists tried many things to establish an institution. But Paniker's idea was fantastic, that artists can make some craft which they can sell in Cholamandal, Now it has come a long way. It has become a larger and solid institution, cemented originally by the foundation made by Paniker. And so did Palsikar did that Kalanagar and the concern of my professor. And the various people in Calcutta also done that. The important is that, like you in Bangalore, are there many artists? There must be a lot of young artists now.
Yeah,
but your contemporaries, many are gone. No?
Yeah, some of the artists, like my group of artists, my age group of artists, Some of them are gone, and
Yeah.
particularly Yusuf Arakal, he passed away last year, 2 years ago, and then like that, But one advantage Bangalore has, it doesn't have a very strong, uh, uh, painting background, So
That's right.
the thing is that there is an art college, a very important art college there. So in fact, I also went to Chennai College of Art to study. So the students, if they want to study, they would go to, they had to sort of go to small institutions like Hadapat's Ken School of Art,
Yeah.
Chitrakala Parishad. They all started only in 60s. And so then when Hebar, when he became chairman of the
Lalit Kala.
Academy, Karnataka Rajyotsava Academy, he introduced a scholarship scheme by sending these young artists to Baroda, MS University Baroda, Shantiniketan, and and so that made a lot of changes. And some of these people who went there, they went to London and Paris and places like that, came back with their experiences and came back to settle in Bangalore and some of these places around Bangalore. And so that has brought a different experience altogether. So that has created a important thing, which resulted in a new way of thinking, seeing art. And here in Bangalore, I can see people are working with all sorts of art, all sorts of things. So there is no division also. It's very interesting thing. Performing artists, for performing art and sculpture, painting, everything possible. And so it's a very for me also to adjust myself to this situation. It took a little time, but I did, and I find it very, very nice. And one thing is that we don't make any senior, junior feelings, or we don't bring it at all. We all feel that we are all same. That's one thing about even my friends like Naveen Kumar, who has been helping me in doing these things. And we don't make any difference between senior and junior artists there. Whereas in Chennai, I still feel that there is that sort of a seniority. They senior artists, they think younger artists are younger. Like that. That's not a good.
I was having when I was 24 years old,
Yeah.
I was having an exhibition of drawings in Bombay.
Hmm.
And Heber, Chowda, Ara, all of them came. The Jatin ka drawing show hai jayenge,
Hmm.
So they didn't wait, and they were all very friendly. In the visual art world, there is nothing like the senior and junior. Then everybody is very friendly with each other.
Yeah.
It's like Souza and Gaiton, they were much older than me, but they were very close friends of mine, like that. So I remember the early days, as I said, in Bombay. I studied in JJ, and these people were 20, 30 years older than me. And they were all there at the exhibition. And they will make comments, and, but very nice. As I said, there's a sea change now. But do you go to Cholamandal? You have a studio there?
Yeah, I have my place.
And you go there every month?
Yeah.
Or how?
Yeah, I used to go more often before, but after the pandemic thing, I've not, only almost 2 years now and has not gone. But I'm planning to go in the month of January and to have a workshop under Arnavas Charities, inviting 6 artists and artists.
Okay.
And then I have my exhibition also at Forum Art Gallery in Chennai. My tapestry, my collages, which he likes very much, that owner of the gallery. So I plan to start communicating, going more often. And for me, it's a sort of another home, no? I've lived in Cholamandal for almost until 1988, 1966. From 1960 onwards, I'm a Chennai man. So I'm a part of Chennai also. That's why I wanted an exhibition after my Bangalore show, retrospective. I wanted it to take place in Chennai. Though I had to have 3 spaces there to accommodate this number of works. Telescope Academy, I took the entire place. Then I took Forum Gallery, Entire Space, and Cholamandal Gallery. So at 3 spaces I had exhibitions. And during exhibition time, another thing I must tell you, that I had my interest in various things like theater, music, dance. So I organized these programs also to go along with my exhibition.
Oh, very good.
Every evening, I'm almost in Bangalore for exhibition took place for 1 month. And NJMA has got an auditorium. So I had 15 programs in 30 days.
Lovely.
Different programs, film screening and poetry readings and things like that. And then very, very good musicians came and sang there. And so I think it's sort of the same thing happened in Chennai and Cholamandal also. And then same thing happened in Bombay, NJMA. Then I was there at, Venkatesh Kumar came and sang Hindustani music. Sanjay Subramanian came and sang Carnatic music concert. Everything took place. And I feel that, exhibition is not just my paintings alone. My reaction to all the other things also, the arts. I feel that way, very important it is.
In
And
Cholamandal, do you have an annual festival or exhibition?
we don't have annual festival as such, but we have annual exhibitions.
Annual exhibition.
Exhibitions.
You have.
And, exhibitions we have. And our organization conduct exhibition
Every year.
every year.
That's very good. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And
We'll also open it up to others. Are there any questions that anyone else has that they would like to pose to Vasudev?
I have no clue about this.
Hello, you can unmute yourself and then you can, yeah. If anyone has, otherwise, I'm sure that.
ask.
Do you also want to talk about, Mr. Vasudev, how did you get into making, like you talked about the, how you got into the tapestries through Hussain Saab, but also what were the challenges? Because it's such a different medium and the whole conversation, like if you talk about one process, like one of the tapestries and the process of how it's happened.
The whole thing is collaboration is important for me. Because I'm not a weaver. Of course, copper at least, I learned it from a craftsman and a weaver. I learned it and then, I take a help from this now. But the tapestry, this weaving thing, it's not possible for me. I have not learned it. So when I went to Paris to learn technique of stained glass, so there I was taken to a craftsman who was doing stained glass work. And Marc Chagall used to come to his place to do his murals. And this man did all the murals which Marc Chagall is supposed to have. Fantastic. And then I asked him, how do you know Master Marc Chagall? He said, sir, we have worked for the last 40 years. That is collaboration. Collaboration has to be a very, very long time. And so this is why, when I met this man, we were in Bangalore, I told him, the collaboration with you will be very, very long. It can't be just 1 or 2 days and then 1 work, 2 works and I sell and be done with it. No, sorry. You have to understand me, I have to understand you. That's collaboration. And so it took some time for me. And the first exhibition of mine, when I had a tapestry, some of the galleries in Bangalore, but Geeta Mehra had a gallery in Sakshi Gallery in Bangalore. He said, you must have a show. I said, I have got only about 18 or 20 works. Well, I don't have any more than that. He said, no, it's all right. And then I got a designer to come and design the exhibition. And so it was then I invited this craftsman, this weaver. For him, it was completely a different thing altogether to come for a cocktail opening of an exhibition, where I introduced him. And when they were filming my exhibition, I took these people to his studio to show how he does the things. Then some 2 women, friends of mine, They said, if we go to him directly, we can get it cheaper, no? I said, try it. They went to him, his place. But then I believe he came to me later on, about a month later, for some work. And then he said, sir, two women came and they said, will you please do something for us? And you have done for Vasudev, and same tapestry, you must be having all sorts of, thing ready. He said, no, I won't do it, because he gives me whatever I want and I'll stick. That is something which I really feel very, great about a craftsman talking like that. He could have easily made some money out of it, but he didn't. So that's the collaboration. That's what I feel is important, to know each other and to respect each other. And then I invite him to my exhibitions. In Bombay, in Chennai, I had a show of my tapestries, and I invited him there. He came. I introduced him to people there. And people ask me, what about ego factor? I said, when it comes to ego, when I only show my drawings and paintings, which is done by me, or copper work, I can understand that. But when a collaboration, there is no ego. If I have ego, then it's impossible to work with a man, another person. So without me, he can't do. Without him, I can't do things. So we have to work together, and there is no sort of ego in this. And it's a very, very interesting thing. Very interesting thing to carry on. And I think Indian craft is fantastic, really fantastic, as you have done, with many things. And I think it's important to bring in this Indian craft into contemporary. It's very important. Then people will react to it much more closely. And that's how we have felt in Cholamandal earlier in 60s, when we started this place. And we knew that people would react to this, and same style, whatever we did in painting or sculpture, we did in batik. We did saris. It's looking like a mural. But people would buy those things. They even now they say, do you have that sari what you did in 65, 66? So people like that, So I think it's important for us to, and even today I feel, in spite of the fact that we are having a lot of financial problems younger artists are facing, because of situations have become a bit bad last 2-3 years. And I always tell them, look, we did it in 60. It's possible for you people to do it. It's possible, provided no ego comes between the artist group. They should work together. They should do it. If they work together and do it, anything is possible. And coming to my, I treat copper and tapestry like my canvas. I treat it exactly like technique, because my drawing goes well with the sort of mediums. So I work. For example, when I see your work, your drawings, Jatin, I always think of how it would look in tapestry and how it would look in copper. My mind works that way. It's very, very, very important thing for us to, and it's almost like, you use your pencil and paint brush canvas. It's like that. It's a very, very important thing to do these things. And many people think that, craft, they just dismiss craft. What is a craft? And I can understand, craft marketed in the media, in the marketplace, reproducing it number of times, and understand that is a craft. But a thin line between the craft and art is there in India. And it's very important that we understand that. And a craft done by an artist is different from a craft done by a craftsman. A craftsman is unfortunately, or people, middlemen exploit them very badly. They are very good. They are very good craftsmen, but middlemen exploit them. And so I'm very happy that people like Kamala Devi ji and others created these craft councils, created this craftsmen coming to do on their own and no middlemen, exploiting them and things like that. They have tried their best to do it. But still, for example, I saw an exhibition, like a bazaar exhibition, where wood inlay, somebody had done a wood inlay of Bendre's painting in wood inlay, N.S. Bendre's painting. Then I asked him, who did this work? He said, I don't know, sir. I'm just marketing this. So I told the Crafts Council people in Bangalore, I said, find if some money, I would like to work with a craftsman, if possible, wood inlay worker. They got a project. I went to Mysore, where wood inlay is done, and I met this man who accepted to work with me. And I asked him one question first. I said, how many colors you have in wood? He said 17 colors. I didn't even know that there are 17 colors existing in wood. Then I worked with him, various things, cups, saucers, and very many things, He did everything. And then we had an exhibition together. Crafts Council organized exhibition. It was a sellout exhibition. Then I stopped working with him. I went on to my work, my painting. Then I could see the influence of mine on him. He was doing something like mine, but not exactly mine. He was doing his own, but that's a very good thing for him to do, So that's how the work goes on. And I think working with a craftsman is very important.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah.
Actually, our next speaker will be Ashok Chatterjee, who will talk about Kamala Devi and Kupulji. I mean, he didn't really spend much time with Kamala Devi but he was a president of the Craft Council of India.
Yeah.
And, and it was her legacy. So it was, but interestingly, he spent some time with Kupulji. So, and they were polar opposite in some ways.
Yeah.
And did amazing things for crafts, but somehow, sadly, didn't really get along. But they must have had amazing respect for each other nonetheless. Because
yeah, they must have. And for my interest in craft goes back to the college, School of Arts days. The School of Arts had craft section, Now they don't have craft sections all over.
It's called art and craft. Yeah.
School of Arts and Crafts.
Yeah.
And we had enameling work there, pottery, ceramic, anything. And you
The
could
same was in JJ School of Art. Also had the wide range of things. Yeah.
And Paniker allowed us to walk into any of this craft section and do whatever we wanted there. He didn't mind it at all, as long as you did your painting in the classroom. That's all right. That's all he wanted. That's all. And then, so we had a wonderful time to learn these things and to those. That's why now, for example, Mahabalipuram. Do you call the persons who created them a craftsman or artist? Very difficult to say. Very difficult to say. So in India, it is a craft and art is a very thin line. I don't think there is this whole idea of craft, sort of a thing has come from the West. West has introduced that craft is different, and so
the colonial period that divided this and they undermined.
Yeah.
In Japan, they talk about the craft, traditional and contemporary, in the same platform, with the same value and respect. You see, ours is a unique country where all these kind of craft is still alive.
Very much,
but they are diminishing in recent past. But the contemporary artists could learn a lot and imbibe a lot from the tradition. But unfortunately, for a long time, we have looked at the West only.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the China, Japan, and Southeast Asia, no, sorry, Southeast Asia, they have imbibed from their own. Of course, that is ventilated by everybody else, but ours is a unique country.
And we also had this thing like, in Cholamandal in 60s, we talked about Indianness, quote unquote, Indianness.
Yeah.
Indianness. And so we were wondering what is Indianness, how to do it. So what I did was, personally, I didn't see any paintings of Western masters, no films, no books, nothing, and didn't put anything on the wall. On the wall, I had Tanjore painting or Bastar village sculpture, things like that, which every morning you get up, you see those things, that influences your mind. That's very important. And we are taken away with the West so much, and of course, it has a lot of freedom is there in the Western art, but there is, but at the same time, you have got to create yourself something different, from what it was.
The Western masters took it from Africa. Yeah, Henry Moore said they did a lot from there.
Even music.
Yeah.
Western music
Our country is unique, and the young artists, the art schools, etc., should imbibe from that. And there was a deeper concern earlier amongst artists.
Yeah.
To imbibe, not Indianness, but to have rootedness, to imbibe the energy, the craft, the sensibility from the tradition.
But weren't like Shankhoda and people like that, I think they were, actually it's very rare, but he did a lot of work with Dhokra, and at the same time, being an artist. I remember as a 20-year-old person, I had gone to meet him. I was doing a project in Baba's hometown in Baripada in Mayurbhanj. And I'd gone to him for advice. And he wasn't well that day. I remember he was lying on his bed, but he pointed out to all the pieces in his room. He'd taken them all out, and he'd taken out books for me to see. And he told me all about the work he had done, and so it was quite amazing. And, naturally, he also was he founded the institution that was precursor to the Craft Museum. The rural, what was it?
No, I was a member of that. It's called Rural India Complex.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Craft Museum came into being in 1972. Me, and there was a sculptor from Jammu. We three were involved in setting up Rural India Complex, of making houses, getting tribals and making their own houses according to their concept of architecture, and putting the craft in those houses. So there was a sense of belonging, sense of rootedness in that. Anyway, so also Santiniketan had that concept.
Yeah.
But at that time, all over the country, in all art schools, art and craft was, synonymous, and they learned from each other.
And I must tell you that just yesterday, I went to a place in Bangalore called MAP, Museum of
Mr.
Abhishek
Poddar. So yesterday it opened, and yesterday it opened not for public, but for a few invited people. And beautiful, lovely. There is traditional things are going on with the modern contemporary things, and it's so. And I saw the works of Talur, Ellen Talur. He's another very interesting artist. I met him when he was studying in Mysore, and so since then I've been in touch with him. But of course, in the last few years, I don't have much of him. But yesterday I met him again. He had done something very interesting there. So he's a contemporary artist, but using the traditional mediums and ideas, how to develop it. It's a very interesting thing, So even museum shop there had a lot of lovely things. And I think you should make a point to visit this museum of art and photography. And Jyoti Bhatt's photograph one whole floor full of Jyoti Bhatt's works.
Very good.
Very good. It was beautiful photographs. And he had done photographs of portraits of artists, some of them very interesting. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Are there any questions anyone has? Please feel free to ask. You can also interject at any point if you want. And is there anything else you'd also like to talk about, Vasudev ji or Baba? Do you want to?
No, but for the audience, the participants.
Yeah. And any questions from any one of you? And what are you working on now? And
You're asking me?
yes.
Yes. I'm working on my drawings and collages. Yeah, I've not gone to my painting. And for the last 2-3 years almost. Excepting that during COVID time, there were 2 art camps that took place. It is different kind of art camps. It has not been inviting us to some place, by doing your own work in your own studio. And they provide everything. And I know if then they provide honorarium and everything. And I told them fine. But during COVID time, because we couldn't go out, so we could work in the studio. At that time, I did some paintings, oil painting. But otherwise, I'm stuck to my drawings and collages now. I'm trying to see what all the things possibility there. And when I see Matisse doing collage work when you couldn't really do something large collages, yes, Matisse, fantastic.
He also did a lot of those paper cuts.
Yeah.
When he was in the, I think when he went, he was in an asylum, I think, for some time, and he made these huge paper cuts. I remember I saw them, and there was a big exhibition, I think, at the Tate Modern.
Yeah.
Which they showed it. Yeah.
There was an exhibition of Matisse and Picasso. And it's a very interesting show. They respected each other, but at the same time, they hated each other also. Because Picasso would pick up something from Matisse's work and then create his own. I mean, made his own, things like that. And so Matisse would always feel that sort of a jealousy in Picasso doing that. And so it was a very interesting show, which I saw in New York. Modern art. It's a very interesting show. And there is a film also, I think, on Matisse and Picasso.
I think even at JD Center of Art, because the collection is such a diverse collection, and it's got a huge craft and collection and textiles and handlooms, but there's also a large collection of modern art. So it'll be interesting that how, when we open, hopefully in a year's time, that how the two juxtapose, and one can see then the parallels in some of them. And even if they're not necessarily parallels, it's interesting to see the context in some of them. So I think that will be quite exciting for us. And so it'll come up in Bhubaneswar by hopefully exactly in a year from now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, just to say that the very concept of a museum is a Western thing where the art and craft is gone. So people come, they muse themselves coming to a place. In Bengali, they call it Jadughar. Otherwise, in Hindi, they call it Sangrahalaya, meaning there's a center where everything is collected. I'm intentionally using a word called art center. In India, the villages are art centers.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that it's a museum. No, it's an art center where we will have folk, tribal, classical, and contemporary art all under one roof, under one canopy, So, so that common people is for everybody. When you enter, when you see the center, that's the idea Siddharth is now looking after. But my concept is that you don't have to ask, you don't have to analyze anything. As you walk by, the works tell you what it is, So that's how we should have. In China, when I had gone, I went to a craft emporium. That's a unique thing they have done, which others have not followed. About 500 craftsmen are working as you enter on different things. Then you go through them to buy a piece. So you have respect, you've seen the process, how they are doing it. And I'm surprised in our emporium is just stored and you buy and take it away. Because when you see a weaver weaving, when you see a Minakari person doing the jewelry or somebody doing miniature, the Patachitra painters in Orissa, they sit in the veranda and then just coconut shell is the container for colors. And they have no nakhra, they don't show off. They just sit there and work on their lap. They no easel, there's nothing. You know, we had a sculptors camp in the beginning of 2004 at the Jenny Center of our land. And we had the traditional artist who had only 2 chisel and a hammer. One fine chisel and one, but the modern artist wanted a grinder and many things, drill, etc. You know. So I think in our country, we have had the legacy. Now, like a lot of people say, the canvas came as the colonial British came. That's not true. Because the Patachitra, the Patua, and the Phad is a canvas on which it's painted. So, you know, we have so much a reservoir of things, like the way Chola bronze is done, you know. So, you know, I have my hair stand when I see, you were mentioning a little bit about craft and art. I don't see the difference. As a matter of fact, I respect the traditional artists more than my contemporaries, more than myself even. Because they have no nakhra, they don't show off, they just work. And they have inherited, they have learned from their guru, you know. So it's wonderful. And the same thing spreads right up to Japan all the way. We're very lucky to have the rich heritage, which we are ignoring. And that's why all of Jesus School, the Bombay, in Madras, in something that's all talked about art and craft, you know, pottery, sculpture, painting, weaving, crafts, everything was all under one roof. Wonderful. Thank you, Vasu. Is anybody would like to ask Vasu anything, please?
Otherwise, I think we will bring this to a close. Thank you very much, Vasudevji. And I hope you all will also join in on the second Saturday of every month for this program of ours at 5 p.m. And we'll have Ashok Chatterjee speaking. We'll have later on Christine Michael. We'll have Jyotindra Jain. We'll have Amal Allana talking about Ibrahim Al-Qazi and his legacy of art. We have a range of really lovely speakers in that. And there's one question from Varsha Das, from my mother. Ma, do you want to ask the question? She's put in the chat box. Are you planning a show of your collages in Delhi?
Well, I have not planned it at all now, but I don't know. It might. It all depends on the availability.
It's been a long time since you came to Delhi. I think, please come.
Yes, Varsha, I would like to come, but all depends on the gallery, you know. And
Yes.
in fact, National Gallery of Modern Art in Bangalore and Bombay, you know, I had a lovely shows, and Sadanand Menon created the exhibition, and Miti Desai designed the exhibition.
Okay.
And then I wanted to have the exhibition in Delhi, NGMA. You know, it took its own way of, you know, how it is bureaucracy, you know. So, and that COVID started.
Yes.
So I just forgotten about NGMA Delhi.
Mm.
And if any commercial galleries or any gallery is interested in showing some of my tapestry, I mean, my collages, I'm ready to do it. It all depends on the galleries.
Yes.
Okay.
How about India International Center?
I can. India International Center is one place where I have shown my works before. my
Yes.
drawings on Ramanujan, poetry, and my tapestries. And the program officer is a good friend of mine. And I'm
Tete.
sure, Tete,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sure.
He'll
if
be
I suggest something-
delighted to have you
Yeah.
at the main gallery
Yeah,
in
big
Kamala
gallery.
Devi complex.
Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful gallery.
Yes.
Lovely gallery, yes. Maybe, yes, sometime.
Thank you. Looking forward.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. And thank you again.
Bye.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.